Because again, people try to separate Jesus from Israel like this don't matter. Jesus talking about something else. No, Jesus talking about this. That's what he's talking about. Nothing else. Matthew 24. That's why it's amazing that you got people from both spectrums going to separate Jesus from Israel. You got Hebrews say they don't believe in Jesus, but they think they Israel. Well, a lot of good that's going to do. We was all Israel when we got on them slave ships. That didn't matter. So being Israel ain't good enough. And then you got people on the other side say, well, I'm going to be a Christian and believe in Jesus, but that Israel stuff, that don't mean nothing. Look, Jesus said he sent to Israel. He talking right here. What Moses was talking. Matthew 24 and 29. This is at the end of time. Tribulation is on its way, and what did he say happened after that? Go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
We're looking at the end of the world right here. Because he's going to roll the sky back. That's what's going to alter the sun and the moon. And all the atmosphere. He going to tear it up. I guess he made it. He can tear it up and fix it again. He can do what he want to do. He made it. Just like you make something, you can break it, put it back together. Take it apart, put it back together. God know how to do it. Well, that's what he's talking about. He said, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun going to be darkened, and the moon not going to give her light. And what else?
And the stars shall fall from heaven.
Oh, it's been shaken. Go ahead.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. See, that's when it's all going to climax. But see, what people don't know, this one is time to put breath back in these bones now. This what's going on right here. This one he going to really put the breath back in those bones right at this moment. That's why he said, prophesy to the four winds and breathe upon these slain. That's why Ezekiel even saw this. He said, he prophesied and it was a noise and a shaking. Well, he was looking at this right here. But go ahead.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
And he come, go ahead.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
He come. Let's see if he's going to breathe upon these slain that they may live. That's what he said in Ezekiel 37. Go ahead.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
See, he's going to gather them together from one end of heaven to the other. So he's going to bring them together, but still they got to get some breath. Because, see, we just getting the tip of the word now, but he got to give the whole nation the word when he get Israel back. That's when he's going to do that, when he bring them back. That's when we are going to be a people again, his people again. Now, go to Isaiah 11, though, because he said here, verse 31, he's going to send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. They shall gather together his elect from the four winds. We read that that's where Israel was scattered to. He said, I spread you out to the four winds in Zechariah 2. And then he told you in Ezekiel, where we started, Ezekiel 37, he said, O breath, come from the four winds and breathe upon these slain that they may live, right? Because that's where Israel got scattered at. So that's where it's going to begin at, and that's where he's going to bring us home back, and he's going to put the breath in us. But now, Isaiah 11, Isaiah, instead of saying the four winds, he's going to tell us something else, but it's going to mean the same thing. Isaiah 11 and verse 11. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people.
See, this is so magnificent. He compared to the first great deliverance of his people when they left Egypt. That was the most magnificent thing he done on the nation scale. Most magnificent thing. Took Israel out of slavery from the greatest country that existed, Pharaoh and his army at that time. Well, this is going to be even more magnificent, but yet don't nobody know about it, don't nobody talk about it. They have done away with Israel, so it don't mean nothing. But this is what he's telling you about the dry bones in the valley. They got to come back. So he said here, the Lord, it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time. See, the first time he recovered Israel was in slavery in Egypt. That was one nation they had to come from. That was pretty easy compared to this. That's why this is even greater. Because we scattered to the four winds, right? He said the second time, he's going to put his hand to recover the remnant of his people. Where we shall be left at? Go ahead.
We shall be left from Assyria.
Assyria, that's one country. Go ahead.
And from Egypt.
Another one.
And from Patros.
3, go ahead.
And from Cush.
Go ahead.
And from Elam. And from Shinar.
He's naming all kind of countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, these even black countries. See, we think it's a black thing. Look, it's about a nation. Israel is a nation of people. One group of blacks from among many nations of blacks. And we scattered among them. Go ahead.
And from Haman. And from the islands of the sea.
And all the way over here to the islands of the sea, he said he going to gather his people. This is going to be the second and greatest deliverance of Israel. Go ahead, verse 12.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nation. And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
Oh, here he said from the four corners of the earth. He getting the outcast of Israel, though. The dispersed that's been spread out. He said, I spread you out to the four winds. That's why he had to send the breath to the four winds to breathe upon these slain that we can come back to life. That's why we starting to wake up now where we are at. Slowly but surely. We starting to realize, like the guy used to say, I am somebody, but we starting to realize who. He never said who. He said, you are somebody, but who? Okay, that's grand and good. Who? Nobody don't never say who. Even Malcolm X, he said, look, we don't know, so we got an X there. But see, we know who. We starting to wake up and find that. We calling it to mind that we got cursed for a reason, for disobedience to God. And the curses are a sign that we are the children of Israel. We have died and been scattered out in the bondage to the four winds, and we on our way back home. We on our way back out of this grave. So, read verse 12 again.
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah.
From where?
From the four corners of the earth.
From the four corners. See, this is identical. See, so you can't throw away Israel and think you got Jesus. Jesus just said he's going to gather together his elect from where? The four winds of heaven. From one end of heaven to the other. The four winds. Isaiah had already said the four corners of the earth. So they one and the same. Jesus is in line with this. He's not changing nothing to do away with. So people that want to accept Jesus, they got to accept his program. And his program is all about Israel. You can't do away with Israel if you believe in Jesus. Let's go to Amos 9. Back to Amos 9. We was there early. We're going to clean up all the loose ends now. Amos 9. Then we're going to go back to Ezekiel 37 one more time. And we're going to be running from there. Amos 9. Then we're going to go to Ezekiel 37. Amos 9, and we're going to read verse 8 one more time. But now we got full understanding. See, this is why he said destroy, but not utterly destroy. He had to leave room for us to rise as a people. Thank God for that. Because if don't be no hope for us to rise as a people, we all might well go hang out on the corner, eat, drink, and have a good time. But we know it's some hope. Amos 9 and verse 8. Okay, go ahead.